local musicians are donating their time and talent to the 13th annual Classic Albums Christmas, with all proceeds supporting the Hope Center. Joining me in the studio to share all the exciting details is organizing committee member Kelly Jones. Kelly, this is a one-time only opportunity to hear these albums in their entirety. Tell me about the event.
So we are in our almost 12, 13 years. It gets difficult during COVID to remember because we had some cancellations. But so a group of musicians, we've been playing music since high school, college. So we've been together for 20, 25 years playing different music. And as life responsibilities changed, so did our bands. And then we were like, about a decade ago, we're like, how do we still play music and how do we give an opportunity to give back to the community? So that's what came up with Classic Albums Christmas for the Hope Center. And
has it always been the Hope Center that you've been playing for?
Yeah, it's always been the Hope Center. Over the last couple of years, we've expanded. They've really been a huge help over this last year and this year to take it to a larger venue like the Croatian Hall. And we've maximized our ability to raise money. So people bring in non-perishable food items. And we also raised last year $3,000. So a big part of that is the musicians and, of course, the help from the Hope Center and all the great work they do.
Yeah, and for those who aren't familiar with the Hope Center, can you tell me a little bit about what they do and kind of what that organization means to you and the other committee members?
Well, we know obviously when we first started that the Hope Center had an important need as a food bank, as a resource, looking at housing, clothing. They're a great community hub for people that are less fortunate in the Welland community. And, over the last couple of years, that need has grown significantly, especially in the Welland area. And so we want to make sure that we are giving as much as we can. Our group of musicians or friends, we're very lucky and we want to give back. And if it has a chance to learn an album that we've always wanted to play, we're ready to go for that.
Oh, that's so nice and so important for the folks in the Welland community. What can folks expect on December 14th?
So you can expect to see, we're actually doing 5 albums this year. So we're starting off with Nirvana Unplugged. We're actually doing that in the round. So that's going to be on the floor acoustically. And so that's a door crasher. So at 7:30, doors open and the music starts right there. There's no awkward waiting around for music. It's boom. So get there early. And then we're doing the Tom Petty Full Moon Fever. And then No Doubt Tragic Kingdom. And then Rage Against the Machine, their first self-titled album, and then Big Shiny Tunes. So I don't know if you remember the Much Music compilations.
Absolutely.
So technically it's not an album, but it is has a lot of crowd pleasers. So that's going to be our headliner. So that's going to be a great crescendo to the evening.
Oh, that sounds so fun. If you are a fan of rock and roll, this is the place to be on December 14th. Can you tell me a little bit more about the musicians? I know you're one of them, and it's just a group of folks who came together. Or are they from different bands?
Yeah, we've all been in different bands, but we've been playing in different groups. But it's always been part of this Rose City music scene that we had, starting in the early 2000s, late 90s. So we're very lucky to have this group of musicians. We've mixed in a few different groups, but they're donating their time and. It's a great opportunity to learn an album, but it's a lot of work. And, the bands aren't getting paid. They're truly donating their talents and their time and to learn these albums. But it's a great experience. And like you mentioned before, it's one time only. We're not going to be playing these albums another time.
Right.
It's, just like show up December 14th or sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
Right?
So how lovely that you all come back together again every single year to do something so wonderful for the community and so meaningful. When do you start rehearsing and when do you start planning for this?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not one of the most talented musicians, so I start earlier. Other people start a little bit later, but it's usually we start having these conversations in the early part of the summer, right?
Okay.
And saying, I usually reach out in the spring, pick an album, let's start the marketing, because we usually do our announcement around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And these are the bands. And, it's a big commitment because once it hits the posters, once we start doing interviews like this, it can't be like, okay, we're going to do Metallica now, right? It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
So that's a lot of albums. That's got to be a long. What's the runtime of the show? You must be playing for hours.
Yeah. So we're running music basically from 7:30 till 12:30. So it is a great amount of time, but
it's a full night out.
No one's asked for their money back because you definitely get a good bang for your buck for being 20
Right.
in advance and $25 at the door.
Right, and you're really encouraging folks to buy in advance this year. It's been a sellout event in the past, and I know it's grown. You're mentioning you started in small bars, and now you've grown to much larger facilities. So you're at where are you this year?
Yeah, so this year we're at the Welland Croatian Hall on Broadway, and so that has a larger capacity than a bar. So last year we got pretty close to selling out. We want to do it this year. Young's Insurance is one of our sponsors, and so they've helped our ability to raise more money to cover the cost of the hall. So they've been phenomenal, and so is the Croatian Hall. So we're starting to really gather some great steam, and we think that this year will be the sellout. We'll be able to get closer to that $4,000 money raised for the Hope Center and that's with everything paid for, right? That's
That's your
thing.
proceeds. That's
Yeah.
so wonderful. So tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door, but you don't want to wait. So where can folks go to get tickets today?
Yeah, so if you go to the Hope Center website, they do have a link there. And then, of course, all our posters that you can see behind us have a QR code. And I think the website will be on the screen here somewhere if I'm pointing at it
Should be.
correctly. Yeah.
Thanks again so much for being on today, Kelly. Happy holidays and all the best for your event.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.